Hello and welcome to The Extra Mile. I'm Linda BOUDREAUX. Our guest today is Lisa Sistrunk. Lisa is a fitness consultant and she's known as the American Sports Lady. We're going to find out how she got that title. Lisa, thank you for coming today.
Thank you very much for having me.
And you've come from Denham Springs, so you're not living over here in Lafayette, but I know that by the time people get to know you a little bit, they're going to want to know more about you and what you do and how you stay so active and involved. So we really are glad you came. You're a fitness consultant.
Yes.
And so what does that mean exactly?
Well, that's when you go in and regardless of the individual you're working with, you are consulting with them, being in the age group that they're in versus the children and your young adults and your seniors. So you consult them and you give them some directions of what areas they need to go into, whether it be aquatics, working with the weights, all of the above, how they can go in their programs and be safe and know that somebody's there to direct them the right way, and adding nutritional things to go along with those guidelines.
Now, I was reading a quote by you where you said exercise is important, but nutrition is really the foundation. I'm paraphrasing you, but nutrition is really a big part of it,
Yes.
isn't it?
Can you imagine somebody going out and running a race or lifting weights and they get really fatigued? If you don't have the proper nutrition, number one, you're not going to have that strength that you need to follow through with what you're doing. Number two, when you are finished, you completely depleted everything that you have and some. So your purpose of exercising and what you're trying to do to be healthy and fit, that says it all right there, healthy and then fit. If you're not healthy, you can't get fit. So the nutritional part of it is probably your first and foremost thing you need to look at. And then from there you take your guidelines as far as the fitness end of it.
Okay, in terms of exercise. So as a fitness consultant, then do you also help people with diet? Is that part
I
of
do
it?
direct them. One thing I like to tell them to do is go with the American Heart Association, because they have guidelines that will pertain to anyone, especially if you have diabetics or people that are on different types of medication.
Right.
So I personally don't write them up, but I always go through the American Heart Association and check and make sure with them, and of course ask if their doctors have limited anything in their diets.
Right.
And you just kind of just show them how easy it is. They get so confused. I think today in society, we have so many things to choose from now. When you go to the restaurants, now they're starting to put what your calorie intake is, what your fat, your carbohydrates, and things that you need to know if you do go in and to a restaurant or you're buying something to eat, to give them the direction in educating them how to do it so it's not so difficult.
Okay, and it is important so that people that very often they want to lose weight, they think I'm going to exercise, I'm going to go on a diet, but they don't really do it kind of, I guess, holistically with a thought out strategic plan. I think it's like it's the new year and we're all just going to do it, but we don't really know what we're doing a lot of times.
And you know, the one thing I find everyone, regardless of the age, they'll come to me and I'll say, okay, what the first thing I want to know is, do you like water? 9 times out of 10, a lot of them don't drink enough water. Your muscle's more than 75% water. If you don't have enough water in your body, when you start training or things that you're going to do, running, doing the cardio that you're going to be doing, you're going to get into a lot of danger areas there. Your body has to have water to follow through with anything that you're doing. And that also goes in with the nutrition. If you're not drinking enough water, your body's not going to be able to process and do the right things it needs to do. So you have to have the water. It's so important. And have a lot of ladies, of course, they say, well, I don't want to drink water because my belly gets big or I still feel so bloated. Well, you know what? Put lemon in your water. It's a good diuretic.
Okay, so just flush it out, but
that's
get it in.
That's it. It's so easy.
Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Now, you've been a fitness expert or a fitness aficionado all your life pretty much.
Pretty much, yes, ma'am.
How did you get started in this?
Well, my father was military, and as we were traveling all overseas, we were always in dance or doing something active. That's one thing about the military. They make sure that the families are very active. And when I came back to the States, I continued to do dance, and then I started competing. I did the fitness, figure, and bodybuilding, and I just seemed to like it, and I started teaching classes, and I had a full-time job. I was doing property management, but I always went back to teaching aerobics in the morning before I go to work at night. So I just kind of let that lead me into competing, and I got to the nationals and won the national competition with an NGA.
Which is huge.
It took me several years to get there.
With
but
the
I did it.
NGA,
The
which is-
NGA, it's called the Natural Gym Association.
Okay.
That's where the competitors are all natural. There's no enhancing.
And that's a
drugs
really
used.
big deal, isn't it? Something that we need to be aware of. So that everything that you did just by good nutrition
Good
and working out and
nutrition and
exercise
working hard.
and no help from
No help.
no help from the
No,
outside.
just natural foods. And it's so easy. If you look at the white rice and the brown rice, which one would you choose? A lot of people, they don't realize the difference in the white bread, the wheat bread, the things that they eat. It's so simple to choose the healthier choices, rather than having fried chicken, get the baked chicken. If you're going to cook, use a lot of the antioxidants with your foods to season them, like your peppers is a very good antioxidants. You add that into your chilies or your spaghettis or whatever, so you're getting a double whammy of all that healthy stuff that you need.
So part of it is just awareness, and you got to know a little bit too. So you started competing and you won, and we have a picture or two of you when you were back doing some of that, huh?
Yes. I have so many, when I use a lot of these pictures, so many of the ladies come in and they'll say, well, I want to look just like this. I'm like, no, wait a minute. First of all, you train for different things. If you want to train for figure,
Is this a figure here that we're looking at?
this is a figure. When you train for different competitions or you want to get a different look, you want to make sure you're not using too much weight, or you want to add more different types of nutrition that you're doing. Like this particular is the figure, and it's not as muscular or hard like you would do as bodybuilding. So you do more cardio, more reps in the strength training. Now that is my body type. Now some women come in, they might need something different. So everyone is different.
Okay.
So they would train differently.
But for you to do the figure, that's what you did.
That's
Now,
what I did.
This is
bodybuilding. This is figure.
Oh, this is figure.
Same. It's more of a smooth line through the muscles. You still have the definition. This is when I won the nationals in Dallas. But you still have muscle. But you want to have the muscle tone, but definition, but not the bulky look in the muscle.
So you're still very smooth.
It's still feminine, more
Yeah.
feminine. Okay, and then this, of course, is more of the bodybuilding. You can start seeing more of the muscle in the arms, the serratus, the oblique area, the chest, the legs. Of course, you can't see all the leg area, but you're starting to get more defined muscle definition there, which that's what they're looking for. And this particular picture was during the Arnold Schwarzenegger show. I did appear there a couple of times, but I wasn't a competitor. I was just one of the show, the modeling of the show at that time. I think I had one more of the figure here. And this is just, again, it's just more of a smooth look. Muscles there, and it's just not real hard defined muscles.
Now for you personally, which do you prefer? Do you have a preference?
The bodybuilding is very hard. It's hard on your body because of the weight that you have to do. It's very strict. I teach aerobics. I love aerobics. I think mine would probably be the fitness.
Okay.
And the figure, of course, is a lot of fun to do that, the training for that.
So fitness, figure, and
bodybuilding.
bodybuilding are the three. And fitness is just aerobics, getting kind of healthy, but you're not so much competing in that arena, are you?
They do have fitness competitions,
Okay,
yes, and I
okay.
competed in that. That's where you do a lot of high kicks and jumps and splits and.
Oh, that's when you do all the fancy stuff.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. You have to have a lot of aerobic in the fitness background and your gymnastics and things like that.
So you do a lot of gymnastics and all of that
the
too,
flips
don't
and
you?
turns. Not anymore.
There was a day. So now what do you do?
In Denham Springs, I work a lot with the seniors there.
Why did you decide to work with the senior population rather than another group?
I found, I work with a lot of the younger groups too. I have a cardio chisel, I do boxing, body pump, various types of classes. But with seniors, we all are aging. And the baby boomers out there now, you're finding out more and more that used to do what I did, the step aerobics and all those high impact aerobics during the Jane Fonda days. Now we're paying the price. Thank you, God. I don't have any major injuries from any of that. But I'm finding that working with the seniors, I'm 58 years old. I'm not ashamed to say my age.
I think you should fluff your feathers and be proud.
I'm 58. I'll be 59 soon. But I think if you stay fit and you know how to take care of your body, even when you were at those levels of doing so much, you can still live a good quality life.
I think
So
that's true.
that's why I try to work with the seniors, and I've actually done a lot of rehab in some of the assisted living homes, go in to enable them to be able to get up and out of their chairs. Even if they're wheelchair bound, they still have to move so they don't have muscle atrophy set in. Because when that happens, they can't move at all, then you start having a lot of more issues come in, the medical problem, you know, of being unhealthy. A lot of people have the arthritis, bursitis, joint problems. So I try to do simple things with them. The Silver Sneakers programs is great for seniors. I work with them, and also People's Health has the fitness for seniors. I work with them. So we do exercises and showing them how to do things with the class, or to educate them so they can go home. If they can't get out, like today it's so cold, they can do things at home on their own. Simple tools like a little ball you buy at a dollar store. And of course I forgot my towel, but just using a simple towel, things that you can do on your own, and they learn these things and they do them at home.
Like real quickly, show us a couple things.
Okay, for instance, this is one of my favorite. People have problems with their hands so much because we use them a lot, and when you can't grip, you can't write, you can't hold your cup of coffee in the morning, you take that ball out and you just squeeze it with your fingers, and you're enabling the muscles to be working, but you're not adding the weight bearing to the joint. And for carpal tunnel, you know, keep the wrist working in and out to the side. You know, just different exercises like this, and it works all the muscles up the arm, circles, and then also using a tool allows me to look at the classroom, seeing if they're doing the circles, that they're doing the full range of motion. We do the shoulder, reaching up so they get the good range, the torso twist with the ball. But my favorite, people laugh about this one, if you actually place the ball between your knees, let me move this just a little bit. If you place that ball between the knees and you squeeze, you have so many that have hip flexor problems, and you can't walk upstairs, you can't get up and down the chair. If you squeeze this ball between your knees, you're allowing your muscles to contract on the adductors and up into the hip flexor, and this is very good for the hips. How many older people have hip problems?
Lots.
And this is a very good tool for that, and they can put it in the car with them, place it at your back if you're a passenger, and you put it at your back and you roll it side to side. It's like getting a massage in the back.
Oh, how
and it
nice.
keeps the circulation going through the back when you get stiff. So there's a lot of things you can do, just a simple tool with the ball. And of course, if you have a towel, we use these in the class. Pretend this is a hand towel. And the reason I use this, it aligns their shoulders in with the arms so they're in good alignment, and you're pulling it back. You're not adding any weight, but they're contracting the muscles as they're stretching. Torso twist for the back, slow twisting, but you're keeping your arms in alignment. If you have them out here, sometimes you twist, you're going to drop
they're gonna
them.
fall.
So that way, you're staying in alignment, that spine, as you do your torso twist. Taking it all the way up overhead, bringing it down. There's a whole area of exercise you can do just with that little towel. So these two things, you can put in your suitcase, travel with it wherever you go. It's there for you. Easy.
And it's not strenuous. It's just stuff that you can do while you're at home.
Exactly.
Just but it keeps you moving, keeps you flexible. that
Exactly.
kind of
You've
thing.
got to keep the blood circulating. Since we sit and move, if you're driving or sitting for a long period of time, you get up and you're stiff,
Yeah.
that your blood's not circulating. You got to get that blood through those areas. Like if you have an injury, or you've heard of people when they're in the hospital, the first thing they do, they want to get you up walking.
And
They
that's
got to
why.
get you moving. That's
And
so
that's
important.
why.
Yeah, so important.
So this is what you're doing for us now, but you've actually, we're very fortunate to have you around because you've actually worked with some dignitaries and royalty, and you've really had a very exciting career.
Yes, I've been very blessed.
You
yes, I
have done a lot of fun stuff. So tell us about some of your experiences in the Middle East.
I worked in Saudi Arabia for a while, and I went to Kuwait, and how that came about. My father was in the Middle East, and of course I was in Saudi Arabia at the time, came back to the States. That's when I started training, competing and all. Where there was a gentleman, he was looking for a trainer for the royal family and the Al Sabah family in Kuwait, and he had noticed the article in the paper where I'd won my first aerobic competition. So it was called the Tone Challenge, and I won that one. And he called the gym where I worked out at, they listed all that in the paper, and I just happened to go and meet with him, and he noticed that my father was from working overseas in the Middle East, and so he said, well, this is a win-win, because when you go into the Middle East, you got to be aware of the culture, and he said, well, would you be interested in the position? So I said, of course, I'm used to traveling, so that's where it all began. And I went to Kuwait and started training the royal family. And from there, it just kind of exploded. I started writing health and fitness articles for the Arab Times newspaper, which I still write for.
Wow.
I've written 958 articles.
My gosh, Lisa.
Since 1993, I think it was, I started.
Wow.
And they print the article in Kuwait, Africa, Europe, and Asia. It's for the Arab, but it's written in English.
Oh, okay.
But
I was wondering.
it's an English paper. It's called the Arab Times. And then from that, I had the television show called Good Morning Kuwait. It was like Good
Hey,
Morning,
Good Morning
America. And they had a health and fitness segment on there, and I worked for Reebok International also at the time. So we would go on and we would have people call in or write into the show and asking specific questions, and I would get on the air and I would answer the questions, and I might have somebody come on like you, and I would put somebody off the street. I wouldn't get one of my aerobic instructors with me. I would get a real person and bring them on and say, look, this is what we're going to do. I want them to see that anyone can do this. You don't have to be an aerobic instructor to do these exercises. So I would use what you call real people. Bring them on, and we would do the exercises and answer their questions on the show.
So that must have been fun, huh?
It was very interesting. It was fun, yes.
And so how long did you do all that before you came back?
I came back to the States in 2000,
Okay,
in
so-
2000. And then I continued to go back periodically back to Kuwait for a couple of years. And then now I just do it through email. I do
Yep.
the articles and training through email now.
Now your articles are, what are they about? I mean, to have that such a wide circulation, you've got to be very generic, I would think, in what you write.
How I get that is
Yeah.
they will email me questions and I answer that.
Okay.
They do my work. I have to do the research and study and find out what exactly they asking. Like I had one lady, she wanted a specific exercise for the hip and thigh, but she can't use the weights, and it was nothing but laying on the floor doing specific exercises using your own body weight. So just showing them how to answer the questions that way. And then I would always address some type of nutrition, like if it's during the winter time in Kuwait, how to do the proper clothing that they need, because over there it can get very damp. And just, tips that way, health tips, health and fitness tips.
And that's still going on. Huh?
That's still going on.
So do you do any of that? Do you share that kind of information with the clients that you're working with now?
Oh,
the
yes.
Same kind of thing?
Yes. At PARDS, one of the clubs I work at, we have a newsletter we put out, and I always try to add in health things there. And I've been on a couple of little events. I do the library associations there in Livingston. And in fact, I'm doing one Friday for the seniors. They're going to come in, we're going to use the ball and the towel, and I'll talk about the exercises and things that they can do. And like I said, everyone's an individual, but when I have the seniors come in, there's always a few you have to modify for, and they know exactly what to do when they come in. You make them feel comfortable so they want to come back. And believe it or not, we play music too, good music.
So what's good
We
music?
do the 50s.
Okay.
We do, actually I did some Zydeco music not too long ago. And
So
the
they
whole-
exercise, they work out to the music.
We exercise. Maybe we have to do that here one day.
That's a great idea.
It's really fun. It's a lot of, and it's so easy. Thursday mornings we do a dance, etc. They come in, we do line dancing. I actually have a gentleman that had a stroke. 2 years ago I started working with him. I want you to know now he can do the Cupid Shuffle.
You're
You know what the
kidding.
Cupid Shuffle is?
Oh, Cupid's from right here in
Yeah.
Lafayette.
He
Yes,
can do
we
the Cupid Shuffle. Yes, yes, indeed.
You've really, I think in your work, one of the great gifts I think it's given you is that you've had the opportunity to really change lives, haven't you? I mean, you see the great benefits that people have when they begin to move around. But you were telling me before we started about a young woman.
Yes. I guess God put his hand on me because I never thought I'd still be doing this at my age, but it was such an experience. They actually wrote an article. This is a magazine that is printed. It actually goes through, it's an overseas, international, it's called the Expat News. It goes throughout overseas. And I met this young lady through the show I did, Good Morning Kuwait, and her mother called the station and wanted to know if I would meet with them. And I just thought it was another client, somebody that wanted to learn, some fitness tools, things to do. So I met them at the Holiday Inn, where I was also doing classes. They came, we did a consultation. When her daughter walked toward me, she drug her entire right body, the whole right side. She couldn't even pick it up. So her mother dropped to her knees and started crying, and they were Indian, and asked me, could I please help her daughter? Now at this time, her daughter was only 14 or 15, she was a young teenager. And I told her, I said, what I need you to do is bring me all your health charts, the doctors, whatever they had done, the therapy she had done. So make a long, because it's a real long story. But that summer I started with her, and I worked with her every day. And I started her in the pool, and then I started with the isometrics, and then we got into the weights. Well, to this day, she's married, she has 3 children. She's actually gone into law, so she can help the ladies that were unfortunate like her. She had an accident in Kuwait where she was actually pushed from a building. And so she
7 stories down.
7 stories.
It was a big fall.
Yeah. And when they put her in the hospital, they did therapy on her, but the only problem is if you don't go through the therapy, and you have to do the opposing muscles, unfortunately, and because she was Indian, her family was not very wealthy, and I did this through my heart. I didn't charge them one thing. I trained her every day. I told her, if you're consistent and you're here and you want to get well, I will do everything. And I prayed every day, God, just give me the strength and show me how to get this young lady going. Well, she can wear high heel shoes. She has 3 children, and now she has her degree, and she's helping others that aren't as, like her. So
that really speaks to a couple of things. It speaks to you and to your passion and compassion, but it also speaks again to the importance of using our bodies and being smart, knowing what we're doing and how to do these things so that we can really get the maximum health benefits. Because, it's like the gentleman, that's now doing Zydeco. If we use our bodies and if we stay active.
And it can be fun. It can be so much fun.
It should be fun. I mean, I'm thinking you've enjoyed just about everything you've done. Am I right about that?
I love it. And saying that too, it's like so many of them, they don't want to get outdoors. And I tell them, okay, fine. I made an exercise video for Kuwait when they were there. A lot of the women, they didn't come out of their homes for whatever reason. They were stuck with the children, or sometimes the cultural reasons. So I made sure that they at least had something in their homes to still exercise, using their own coffee table, their own tools right there, a towel, simple things that they could do on their own. I just tried to spread the health, fitness, as much as I could.
And so is that still available in Kuwait?
I'm sure it is. Of course, this is on what do they call the old?
Yeah, the old VCR.
The VCR. Yeah. And in fact, they still play the Kuwait Airways. I did the health and fitness segment for Kuwait Airways, and they still play that on their airlines too for sit and.
Wait, we didn't talk about that. What did you do for the airline?
The Kuwait Airways. They do. In fact, I had a thing here. They do. On the airlines, they bring up a video, and it's the Kuwait Airways, and when I was with Reebok, and we did a exercise segment when you're in flight so many hours internationally, you can still, because I guess you've heard now because of the
blood clots and things, if you sit too long.
You sit too long, the clotting, the blood circulation. Again, keep moving, and I show things you can do in your seat. If you don't want to get up and move, you can still move in your seat. When you go to the bathroom, get up and get a drink of water, whatever things that you can do in a flight. So it's called In-Flight Exercises International.
What a great idea.
Yeah.
So Lisa, you have done so much so far in your life and all the contributions you've made, and you continue to do that. But I want to thank you for coming today. And I guess one last quick soundbite. What would you want people to know about what we've talked about today?
To be fit, you got to be healthy. Nutrition, keep moving, have plenty of water, and enjoy life. Embrace every moment, and thank God when you wake up in the morning you have that day, and do something good first of all for yourself and somebody else with you.
Absolutely true. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching The Extra Mile.